The Open Task podcast is back. Zoom has made some upgrades. Apparently, they just told me in my ear that the recording is in my. Hey, so look, I'm gonna get my timer right now, Joe.
I know. Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, we shall see. We shall see.
We don't know how close they were to the splice.
That's true. So look, guys, we brought back our main man, Derrick Cameron, DC, because we are going to talk about one of the movies, and Joe and I talked about it earlier today. We've been talking about it, way up there, way up there, in terms of relevance, in terms of quality, in terms of everything. So we would like to welcome back Derrick Cameron to the Open Task podcast.
Professor Derrick Cameron, more outside of 2000.
Thank you.
MFA from the Florida State University. Was that 02, 03? When you finished?
02. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, 02.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah,
man. And a professor of film, a filmmaker, an arbiter of style, a man who drinks and knows things.
A man of class and taste.
A man of class and taste. All those things.
All those things. Yeah, man.
Yes,
So,
yes
DC,
indeed.
DC, we had to have you. As a matter of fact, you asked for it, but even if you hadn't asked for it, we would have had you on here.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
This movie, Do the Right Thing, that we're covering tonight, has a special place in all of our hearts as Morehouse men, as people who love film, as a professional in the film industry as yourself. You know what I mean? Like this is one of the seminal movies, man. How do you feel about this movie, man?
Yeah, I mean, so there's gonna be a lot of stories tonight. So whenever I make a film, whenever I work with my students on a film, there are three movies I watch. First is Pulp Fiction, then Goodfellas, and then Do the Right Thing. I just try to end with a bang. And I have stories for each of those films about, obviously they're great films, iconic films. But at the same time, I had interesting experiences around all of them. So Pulp Fiction, I don't know if you guys had dollar shows or dollar shows.
Yeah, after been out for a while.
Yeah. So in Chicago, I was about 15, 16. My mom and I, I grew up single parent home. And my mom and I had a ritual, every Sunday we go to a movie. And she really, kind of, grew me into my film going experiences and, just loving film. And so I was 15, 16. I was like, we should go see this movie called Pulp Fiction.
Your mom.
And she hadn't seen the trailer, nothing. She was just like, all right. It's gonna be
Were you aware?
$8. I knew about it. But I knew about it. And then, we went there. It was like $8. I was like, all right, we'll just go to brunch after. That's gonna be fun. And so we went to Pulp Fiction right after Sam Jackson shot Frank Whaley. She just kind of looked at me like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what are we doing? What's going on?
That's the first story too.
What have I gotten myself into?
Yeah, that's the first story.
That was it. She was just like, I don't know what's going on. Why am I here? But okay, let's watch it.
A mother supporting her son's love.
She was just like, hey, I mean, we got into the whole Ving Rhames shit and everything. It's just like, okay, like this is, and we walked out, in a good place. She was just like, yeah, that was a wild movie. It was really good, but it's a wild movie. Yeah. Same thing with Goodfellas. I was 11. I was 11 at a sleepover.
And, there you go.
I watched Goodfellas with friends of mine and their parents. And I was just like, I knew I should not be watching this movie after, he stabs the guy in the trunk. I'm like, I shouldn't be doing this. Right. So, but, I stayed in it and, shaped a lot about me. But, Do the Right Thing was really special to me because every year I used to visit my grandparents. My family's from Chicago. Mm-hmm. But my grandparents are from Milwaukee, and most of my family's from Milwaukee. My mom, everybody, they grew up there. So whenever I say I'm going home, I'm always going to Milwaukee instead of Chicago. But Chicago's always the shit. But I remember going, to Milwaukee to visit my grandparents for like, a week. And it gets really hot in Milwaukee, like super hot, like, just racist. When the sun feels racist. Like,
you mean like those preseason Green Bay games? Those preseason Green Bay games?
Just oppressive heat.
Does the sun hit me right now? Like, yeah, man.
Yeah.
And my grandmother, her and I used to, have our, thing. We went out shopping, all that kind of stuff. She had her errands, but it was so hot one day. She just was like, I can't take it. Let's just go to a movie theater because we're downtown and they have air conditioning and we can sit there for 2 hours. And the only movie playing was Do the Right Thing.
In Milwaukee.
And in Milwaukee. And we went in. I had no idea about the movie. I had no concept or clue about it. I do know, when it started, I was like, oh, Rosie Perez, I'm a man now. Got that. I understand that.
Yeah.
But at the end of that movie, I came out and I was just like, whoever made that movie, whatever they did, I want to do that for other people. And so that's why it's really important to me. That's really why it's important to me. So, it just has a special place in my heart. I've seen it like 200 times. I watch it once a year. It's just that movie for me. So I'm glad to be here talking about it.
We appreciate having you, man. How about you, Joe? What was the first time you saw it? What are your initial feelings about it?
Well, I wanted to say, I love that. I love that. First of all, you're the canon there for you. About the films that you share, because those films are also very, very important to me. And we've reviewed Goodfellas. We will review Pulp Fiction. I mean, we will get there probably next season. And I have something in my head around how we want to do that. But nonetheless, Do the Right Thing is another similar work. So I was 14 when it was released in 89, turning 15. And culturally, it was a big deal. I was telling you, Calvin, earlier, summer 89, we've had this conversation. Actually, we had this conversation on Roadhouse. Summer 89, or let's just say 1989, but we could say 1989, the summer, another number. I had to say that. It was very, very important. Right. So a lot going on in 89.
Absolutely.
Culturally. So for a 14-year-old, and it's interesting, DC just said something, I'm a man now, right? Going into manhood, I was 8th grade, going to high school, 9th grade. There was still a little bit of the boyishness in the movies that I loved that summer. And then a little bit of the serious stuff as well in film. So I'll say this again, June 23rd. That's Batman. Okay. That cut across. It didn't matter. I don't care who.
It was a movement. It was a movement.
I'd never seen marketing
everywhere
for anything in my life. Like that. I'd never seen marketing for anything like that in my life. I mean, billboards, television, Jet magazine, in my barber shop, in the black neighborhoods and the white neighborhoods, everything just to say June 23rd in the symbol.
That's all.
Batman.
That's it, and that's all.
And they won.
Absolutely.
However, we were spending money in 89.
Ooh,
right? So people were going to, you had Indiana Jones. We talked about this. You had Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, if you want to go a little younger.
Well, that's what I had to see, because Batman was sold out the night I went to see it.
You told me that story. The first time I tried to go see Batman, it was sold out. And I was at a Jack and Jill conference. We snuck away. And June 23rd, I had to wait. I saw it June 30th. Okay, I had to wait till I got home. A week later, wait till I got home. But I'm still to say, Do the Right Thing, I knew of it more so because of the guy from School Days. And I read Ebony religiously, read Jet religiously, and I knew I was like, is he a director? Is he I can't figure out, is he an actor? I couldn't figure it out. And then his face was in everything I saw. So it was more cultural than anything else. So it was more about the music for me, and the video and the song Fight the Power. Let me just full stop. So
don't count out the commercials.
Yeah, oh, that too. But in Dallas, we didn't have a lot of commercials. I'm just gonna so that
it wouldn't play it up
that.
in the South like
and,
that.
And think about this too. 89 finals, May and June, 89 finals.
Oh yeah,
it was dominated by Batman. There was no. I'm just saying there wasn't at least where I was.
Yeah.
And think about the finals now. How many things will they show during the playoffs? How many things will they show about movies that are be coming out, right? But I'm saying that to say, Do the Right Thing, as big as Batman was, I'd never seen a black movie marketed like Do the Right Thing was either. But I don't recall the commercials. Okay, I don't recall commercials. But anyway, so didn't see it in the theater, wanted to see it badly in the theater. My parents went and they were like, nah, you're not gonna see it in the theater. We had a friend from church, Eric Thrasher, who Eric worked for Motown. Motown did the soundtrack. Spike, Believing in the Brothers. Motown did the soundtrack, right? So Eric, my dad delivered Eric's babies, and he would just give us the kids, whatever Motown had, like whatever the releases were for the year or for a month or whatever. He would just always have tapes and CDs and whatever else for it. So he gave us
all of that.
Oh, bro, we had the Boys CD singles.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a crazy video. There's a VHS in my house of the crazy video. Yeah. The video for Crazy.
This is one of the better videos of that era.
Oh, it was amazing. That video, because it's a parody. It's a series of parodies.
Yeah.
Calvin, I'm going home in 2 weeks. I'm going to find that tape. And oh gosh, that's special. We have nothing to play it on at home, but nonetheless. And so one of the things he sent us was Do the Right Thing. He sent us Do the Right Thing. He sent us the soundtrack, Do the Right Thing. And the best part for me was the score.
Yeah.
I was a kid who wanted to be a filmmaker, but I thought in scores. Okay, scores were a very big deal to me. And as I finally snuck it and watched the film that night on VHS, I couldn't help but listen to that music. And so I probably saw it in the first time in the spring of '90. Okay, granted it was released in summer '89, but I saw it in the spring of '90 on tape in my home. Didn't get in trouble for it, but in addition to that, and I told you this earlier, Spike, ever the marketer, would have a companion book. And I gotta run and get my 5 for 5, by the way. I forgot I was supposed to have it right next to me. But he would have a companion book to accompany every film. Moments of Guerrilla Filmmaking, I can't remember for She's Gotta Have It. Uplift the Race was for school days.
Right.
And then Do the Right Thing was literally called, I think it was like called Do the Right Thing. It was like a book, had the script, had notes. He gave you a diary basically of what it took to make the film. Yeah. So by the time I watched the movie, I had studied it. I read the script like 11 times. I had one sheets. Me and my brother had full one sheets in our room, like posters of it in our room. I had the music. I had everything but like gear. That was the only thing I didn't have was gear. Wow. But it was it was vitally important to us. And I was that was when I bought my Spike Lee season tickets, and I've had them ever since.
No regrets.
Like I've never given up my seats. Spike. In fact, I moved closer to the court.
Yeah.
My seats are good.
When I mentioned the commercials earlier, I meant the Wyden and Kennedy Nike commercials.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we're talking about Spike's trajectory, like
okay.
That's a thing, and it was just like I was like, oh, I know who that guy is. That made it, and like, okay.
The white.
So that was on, right?
Yeah.
So you see Mars and Michael, and Michael wasn't even in the finals that year. But that was on.
Yeah. White concrete fours was something else. Hey, actually,
absolutely.
We gotta come back to that. So for me, my first time seeing it, I was, my family had season tickets to Spike. Obviously, I've talked about how my dad thinks that Spike stole the idea from School Days from him, and all this kind of stuff. So nonetheless, like we love Spike, and my mom and dad saw it, and by then they were divorced, but they were, they kind of still hang out and all this kind of thing. I don't know, I mean, I'm an adult now, so I get it. But back then I didn't. But they went to go see it together, and we weren't allowed to see it. But my mom was in school at that time, and so her friend from Spelman, who has passed away, she passed away a while back. Her name was Janet Allen. She used to watch us every now and again. And one night we were over her house while my mom was in school, and she had it on. And I'll never forget. It was the scene. One of the comedic breaks with Sweet Dick Willie and ML and Coconut Sid. And I was like, yo, this is some of the funniest. Like, I get this adult humor. I love it. You know what I mean? Like, he's talking shit to people walking up and down the street. Like, I was like, yo, this is it, man. And so, I found a way to watch it on my own. I don't remember exactly. I think I had rented it like in a batch from Blockbuster. We would go to Blockbuster, get a bunch of movies. I probably rented it in a batch there, watched it on my own, and it is the Spike movie that I've seen the most. I'm on record about Mo Better Blues being my favorite Spike movie, but as far as as far as the Spike movie that is enduring, and to your point, man, DC, when you talked about the 3 movies that you use in your process, when you're teaching and everything like that, what's poignant to me about that is these are the 3 most commonly mentioned movies when you talk about a movie that lost to an inferior film in most people's opinion as the best picture. It has an enduring legacy. Like, no one's, people talk about Forrest Gump, but Pulp Fiction is the one from that year. People talk about, Dances with Wolves, but Goodfellas is the picture that year. People talk about Driving Miss Daisy, but Do the Right Thing is the picture that year. You know what I mean? And so, like, that movie, man, I saw it, and I'll never forget. It was the spring of 1990 when I saw it. Whenever it came out on tape, was when I saw it. But I always had some form of it. It was one of the first movies I bought on DVD. And like Joe was saying, I too had some aspirations of filmmaking at one point in time. And would listen to director commentaries. That was my jam. I listened to the director commentary over and over and over. So this one and Boogie Nights are the 2 director commentaries that I've heard the most in Dogma by Kevin Smith. Those 3 director commentaries I listened to the point of, like, I know the director commentary almost as strongly as I know the actual script from the film. Like, I know what Spike's gonna talk about and things like that.
But my favorite thing about the commentary is Chuck D.
Yes, when he calls out everybody's name.
Oh,
yeah. He introduces like Ernest Dickerson. Right.
But it's in the Chuck D voice.
Yeah,
it's like, that's my shit.
Yeah. It's that kind of movie for me, where, like, if you want to learn about filmmaking, and so, like, for you to say that gives a lot of validity to what I already thought, DC, because, like, if you want to learn about making a masterpiece film, making a film with this layered, a lot of subtext, but also just on the surface is just what it is. This is it. This is that kind of film, man. So let's get into little things, which are a lot of things, because this movie is just filled with little things. DC, what kind of little? Joe,
real quick. I'm sorry, I want to say something real quick.
Yeah,
I went back and I looked. I want to say this real quick. I went back and I looked at the 67th Academy Awards and the films that were up for Best Picture. Okay. Quiz Show was nice. I love Quiz Show. I saw it in the theater. We were studying it when I was at Howard.
It's a clever movie. It's a good movie.
It was nice. Four Weddings and a Funeral, literally one of my favorite films of all time. I have no, and if you Calvin, you know me well. I'm a rom-com crazy. I love it.
Yeah.
I think they wanted to be in bed with the Brits. I'm just going to say that. And it had box office.
And they caught Hugh Grant going up too. Like,
yeah. And it's like the end of Andy McDowell too. So it's nice. Okay.
Sure.
But they're lasting. Well, at least Four Weddings is lasting. Four Weddings is like it's probably on somewhere right now. I mean, it's lasting. Yeah. Now I want to just break this down real quick, and I don't want to get us too far off. But so I mentioned Quiz Show, which is of course directed by Redford, and I mentioned Four Weddings and a Funeral, right? Which those guys have made everything those guys have made. People have eaten up. So the last three films, we got Pulp Fiction, you got Forrest Gump, and you got Shawshank Redemption. Now I'm gonna just go on I don't want to curse yet. We're only a couple minutes in. I want to go to limb here. Okay. At best, Forrest Gump is third place of those three. Okay, personally, I feel. And the fact that, and that's just for that year. All right. In the 62nd Academy Awards, and I know they don't mean everything, but for the 62nd Academy Awards, okay, We have My Left Foot, Field of Dreams, Dead Poet Society, Born on 4th of July, Driving Miss Daisy are the 5 films that were up for Best Picture. Noticeably absent, obviously, is the same picture that we're talking about today. The picture depicted in the poster behind DC right now. The picture that people teach students about. The picture that it has been more and more prevalent in the last 370 days than most.
Yeah.
And yeah. I'm still at a loss, but I know the reasons why, but I'm still at a loss about some of those things. So I remember being upset that night. I'm just as upset today as I was that night. But to your point, Calvin, it's interesting that these films, and I didn't even go into 91. I don't want to get upset. I don't want to go into 91 and get upset, okay, over Dances with Wolves. I don't, because, that's not Marty's fault.
Yeah,
what they did. That's not, but I don't want to go.
We've hashed that out. We've hashed that out.
We hashed that out. But I'm saying that to say that it's interesting that those are the ones they talk about, right? And those are the ones people talk about, we talk about, and people will continue to talk about forever. Yeah. If you're talking filmmaking in the United States of America, that's what people are talking about. We'll be talking about forever. So sorry about that. Wanted to say that as I did a little cursory research there on that, because the societal impact of all those other films, and particularly at the 62nd Academy Awards, it feels a thimble. As opposed to Do the Right Thing, which is a tag on Raging Rapids of societal impact.
Yeah. A literal a fire hose, as it were, man.
Yes. Yeah. Go on, man. We ain't gonna get you going. Oh, okay. So sorry. Go ahead, Cal.
No. It's on DC. So DC.
We got the professor here.
Little things, DC.
I brought my 5 for 5. Sorry, I don't know if you can see my 5.
I see it. I see it. It is incredible.
I got it for $4 on Amazon.
Yes.
Man. Little things. What little things stand out in this film to you?
Everything in this film is so I don't know if they're little, right? It's so audacious. This was like his 3rd film. You think about Spike's trajectory, right? Mm-hmm. He came out with a small film. Mm-hmm. And She's Gotta Have It. Obviously he had his thesis film from NYU, which got him hired. But after that, and then he, my thing is like, it's just so audacious. But it fits in the Spike. Yeah. Because he pivoted from that to be like, I'm just gonna make a musical next. That's what I'm gonna do. And then after that, during probably the 2 years that were pretty tumultuous in New York as far as racial violence, and assaults on Black people, he turns around and it's just like, I'm just gonna make this film. And so when you see it, what I tell my students all the time as well is like, there's a way he uses stereotypes in this movie, right? He embraces it and turns into it. Like he doesn't shy away from it. I think De Niro turned down the movie because he was like, I can't be a Italian guy making pizza. Like, what are you talking about? Like, who are you? So, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, he really, everybody in this movie is kind of a stereotype. But it's an easy way to get into New York and what it's like to just be on the block and be in New York and be, and then get to your climax, get to what you're trying to do. And those people do exist. So, it was bold. It's really bold to me. You have your background now, Calvin, like with the red brick back. That's like, okay. It's doing a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like he's doing a lot. He has those Dutch angle shots in the movie where, Radio Raheem is yelling at Sal and, that stuff is happening. Like, it's a very bold movie. I don't know if you can say little things. The things I guess that stick out for me in that movie, besides just, the overall like audaciousness of it. I mean, we'll get the scenes later, yeah. But and I have like 3 scenes that are my favorite of all time. I love the fact that this movie created probably the best rap song of all time. Like probably like when we're all dead and gone, everybody's gonna be like, oh yeah, fight the power. Remember that? Yeah. So like that's probably it. And then just the fact that a really little thing is Spike predicted climate change in this movie.
Wait, ML's line?
Yeah, he predicted. I mean, I was just like, yeah, he sounds crazy in the scene, but you go back and listen to it, and I do every year, and I'm just like, he was calling out climate change like early, like 88, 89, like that's crazy. So that's a little thing that stood out for me. Those 2 things. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think Spike, he's had a long career, man. And, it's all hit or miss, right? Sometimes.
Right.
But at the same time, if you've been working 40 years, you're gonna fuck up sometimes. So it's just what it is. It's like, I'm sorry. But at the same time, what he's done for the industry, the amount of Black people and people of color that he's gotten into the unions is, I don't think people have really reported that as much. I think people in the industry like know it, but it's one of those things where like he really like basically like godfathered people in, and
just talked about that in the commentary.
He just gangstered people into the union, man. It's like it's really unprecedented, and I don't know of another filmmaker that has done something like that. So those are the little things for me.
Yeah, and again, on his 3rd film, like me and Joe was talking about that earlier on a phone call. It was like, look, he had the trajectory of a Hall of Fame player. Like, first season, she's got to have it Rookie of the Year. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, and then School Days, you know what I mean? It's misunderstood by some people, but generally, like if you follow, it was perfect. I mean, it was like still in that trajectory. But then, Do the Right Thing. Like this is his MVP, like hitting for the cycle, triple double, like 50 touchdowns.
Pedro in 99.
Right. This is it. Throwing the high heat, right? Like this is it. This is his trajectory. Like, and he lived up to it. I mean, as a Hall of Fame director, this is it, man. And that 3rd season, like when you talking about in football, right? Like the 3rd season is when your recruits are there. You know what I mean? And that's where you put up or shut up. Spike put up and shut up in this film and was like, yo, this is it. This is I'm putting it all on the field and I got it. I want to talk about your point about the neighborhood. Like for me, I have two different eras of watching Do the Right Thing. Before I ever visited New York and after I visited New York. Because before I visited New York, like this is one of the first tastes of New York that I really felt like for Black people, because I knew a lot of people that would go to New York for summers and yada yada, you know what I mean? And I hear about it and I'd be like, oh man, I'm from Atlanta, we got an adversarial relationship with New York, as you guys can see from my first background, when the Hawks and Knicks play, like Fly Away by Goody Mob, like it's a lot of adversarial north-south stuff going on with New York and Atlanta, but we're kindred spirits too. And so like when I finally did get to visit New York and see and stay with my boy in Brooklyn, in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, and see the neighborhood and see how like all these different people are living in this tiny area. It's a tiny area. It's concentrated. You know what I mean? Like you go to New York, it's a block, right? It's and on that block is everything. You got your Jamaican patties. You got, your Asians, like they're selling their like it's exactly like this. And Spike, in his love of New York, like nobody loves New York like Spike except for Woody Allen. Woody Allen and Spike are the New York guys. Yeah, that's for you.
Be careful.
Sidney Lumet too a little bit. No, but no.
Marty, right. No, that's right. That's right.
And Marty, but it's Spike and Woody. We talk about the work. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Calvin. Go ahead.
But when
Yeah.
Spike does these neighborhoods, this authenticity to it, man.
Yeah.
And so when I got to New York and I see it, I'm like, this is it. You know what I mean? Like this is he nailed it. And like
it's the one you'd seen in movies.
Right. It's exactly.
It wasn't Ghostbusters, and
right. It wasn't Home
yeah.
Alone, you know what I mean? Times Square, like, you know, I mean, you know, that stuff exists too.
It wasn't Seinfeld.
But how people, right, and it wasn't Seinfeld, it wasn't Friends. Like how people really live was this, you know what I mean? Like, you know, and so for me, that was like for Spike to be able to put all of that on film and for it to be as authentic. So the authenticity of it all is really for me like the little it's a little bit. I mean, like to your point, DC, I guess nothing's really little about this movie, but like when I go back and watch it over and over again, I'm just struck by the authenticity of the neighborhood, of the people in the neighborhood, of the things going on. You know what I mean? Like the kids in the street, all of it was just perfect to me. And the different characters, you know, the guy, you know, I mean, we could talk all day about, you know, John Savage, all that kind of stuff. But you know, it's just perfect, man. Joe, what about you, man? What little things stand out to you?
Well, I told you all I was obsessed with, and I just showed you the book 5 for 5. So that's yes. The book Spike made after the fifth film, after his fifth film, and I was obsessed with these books. I was obsessed with learning everything I possibly could about Spike, about Spike's work. Having said that, when it comes to little things, I'd read so much about production. That red wall behind you, that was an argument. That was a discussion. I think it was Killick or Wynn, who were the producers. And actually, Monty Ross, nobody ever talks about this brother. Monty Ross went to Clark College. Okay.
Yep.
And
there's no Spike without money, man. There's no Spike.
There's no Spike without money. Like let's and look, and you know, I'm sure everyone we've all seen High Fidelity. I'm pretty sure we've seen the film High Fidelity.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
Okay, it's a Chicago movie, so I'm sure you've seen the Chicago films,
and it's a music movie, so I've seen
it exactly. But there's a scene where they talk about, you know, the music, and they say, "Oh, you all are the intellectual heavyweights, and you're gonna just batter each other over with this information." I feel safe and comfortable having this conversation, saying no one ever talks about Monty Ross and the importance of him in these first 5 films. Not to mention Wynn Thomas and John Killick. Just being serious. And of course, we're going to get to Ernie Dickerson, who is, you know, Ernie Dickerson. Okay. But I'm talking about production design right now. And like that red wall, if you think about it, you never forget it. The first time you see it and you see the guys on it, it's alarming. So the little things to me, seriously, are the colors.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Talk about it.
This New York is vibrant.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, She's Gotta Have It is in black and white, except for 4 minutes for the Nola scene. With the Nola, you know, the scene, all they can afford. That's all they can afford, right? So the scene in the park, in the park with the color, that's it. It's black and white. He goes to Atlanta to shoot School Days. This is the first time he's really shooting New York in color.
Yeah.
And he went there with the colors.
Yeah.
All right. He went there with the style. He perfectly to me, crystallized the time period, had the colors be larger than life, because that's New York. And 90% of us who are watching the film, we've never even set foot in New York. We were watching the film. 90% of us have not, particularly the target demographic. We had not been there. Right. So that was New York to me, you know. And before that, New York to me was Ghostbusters. Okay. Ghostbusters 2, another film of '89. Ghostbusters 2, another. So stay with me. You had Ghostbusters 2. Ghostbusters 2 comes out in '89, and Do the Right Thing comes out in '89. Same New York City. Okay. Yeah. Essentially, right? Both set in New York. Come on. Right, totally different. So the colors to me were Spike used color extremely well, I thought.
Yeah, no,
and the palette was very rich, which showed the beauty of the life on that block. And I love what you said about the block and literally all that was their world.
Yeah,
that was their world. And so even at the very end of the film, when Senior Love Daddy says we're told the mayor. And at the time, it was Ed Koch, because this is, if you think about it, it's '89. Like Dickens hadn't been elected yet, right? So we're told Mayor Koch will come by the block today.
Yeah.
Maybe he can meet our own Demare, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. So like that's a big deal. And if you think about it, when Spike does a lot of these, not a lot of these, he's done neighborhood films. Summer of Sam was definitely you know, a neighborhood film. Clockers, I mean, Clockers was, and Crooklyn. Those were what was happening right there in that space, and how that was their world. And to me, that's a little thing, but you could tell it took the thought that went into the radio station, the store, the place to eat, the people going by. And to your point, DC said it, but or DC or Calvin, you both said it, but introducing the different races that lived on the block. Okay, and though we never really saw Jewish people, they were in the scene, in the big scene. They were mentioned in the big scene, but we never really saw them. Unlike, you know, later he does a full version of this whole thing in 25th Hour, of course.
Right.
But you know, so color in the neighborhood. I thought were little things to me that really stood out, and also the small parts. And the reason I have this picture behind me, I know we're going to ask little things. These four, they were like a chorus kind of.
Yeah, they were the Greek chorus.
They were kind of a Greek chorus in a sense.
Yeah.
Not even like so Woody and Mighty Aphrodite in '95, he literally had a Greek chorus, like with Olympia Dukakis, and literally had a Greek chorus that was telling stories. Right. They were kind of like a chorus in my mind. They were kind of like a chorus, and each of them was different. Each of them was someone in the neighborhood. Yeah. And I thought that I thought that Spike did not waste if you spoke in this film, it was for a reason and a purpose. And I appreciated that. To me, there weren't like throwaway lines, it was real. It was real, it was legitimate, and it mattered. And so those are the three little things for me. And I don't want to like start dovetail into other things, but those are some of the little things for me that stood out.
Yeah. Let me you know, just to clarify with the stereotypes. I mean, I think Spike might take umbrage if I said, you know, he was using stereotypes. I just think, you know, those people exist and they have a life. But, you know, we didn't really delve into like, you know,
one day.
Just a 3D version of them. So yeah, that's what I meant by that. I'll say two things before I know, Calvin, you have another question, but and Joe, you alluded to it, like, and Calvin as well, like, before I came to New York, the only thing I knew about New York was, you know, movies. And I literally thought like Redman albums, the skits on Redman albums. I was like, that's an exaggeration. There's no way that's real. And then you take the New York subway and you're like, oh shit, like,
yeah, that's that.
this is real. Like, okay, like this is all happening.
Yeah.
And so yeah, like I think he basically projected like everything he had grown up with, for sure. And I think you know, like you said, Calvin, I think everything on this block is just so authentic. You know, I have 3 bodegas I go to, all in like a 2-block vicinity. One's run by Yemenis, Yemeni guys. One's run by Dominicans, and you know, another one's run by, I don't even know. I gotta just I'll look it up. But yeah, it's all different ethnicities, and they all sell different things, and it's just like, and it's a different kind of, you know, clientele that comes in there to buy lotto tickets or whatever. I mean, it's just like, you know, it's New York, and that's what they do. That's their everyday existence. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah, it is.
And I just watched the Ken Burns documentary on New York, like recently, and I was just, you know, kind of fascinated. And you know, I think when people talk about New York, it's just like, it's the biggest city and biggest population of ethnicities ever in human history, right?
Yeah, it's a literal melting pot.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing that 11 million people live here.
Yeah.
And they're from different places, and we're all just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
It's just like, you know, you go to China, And it's not the same. It's like you go to Shanghai and like, it's kind of monolithic.
Yeah.
But here it's just like everybody's just trying to get along, trying to figure it out, trying to work together, trying to work the train system. Like it's just like it's just like it's amazing when you hear it. You're just like, this is actually happening. And so it's not really an exaggeration when you look at that film.
No, it's not. It's not. You know, and I like the fact that you brought up about the different ethnicities, and I think that's a great point also about I don't think it's stereotyping as much as it is. I think that's the word we kind of default to, but it's really like he's showing the different ethnicities and the niches that they kind of fit into in the city.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
You know what I mean? Like, and like, I mean, like to your point, like, you know, like to learn this about the different ethnicities, the Yemeni people, you know, I mean, the Dominicans, and the differences between a Dominican and a Puerto Rican person. You know what I mean? Like, it's a big difference. You know what I mean? It's a big difference between an Eritrean person and an Ethiopian person. You don't want to go there. You know what I mean? Like, so it's important. New York is that place where everybody's there. Everybody's in that again, and it's so tiny. These are islands. People are on these islands together and trying to make it to the point that you're making, man. So I want to change up just a little bit that the category we usually use, the unsung heroes, Joe, if it's okay, because I think in this film,
Radio Raheem like a mom.
In this film, there are.
Can't stop saying that. I've been saying that for 32 years. I can't stop saying that.
Sorry. Hey, man. my man Bill Nunn, man. I'm so glad that I had the opportunity to know him as a person before he passed on, man. Just this role, man. Radio Raheem was everything, But like who? I want to know, DC, who are your top 3 characters?
Ooh,
I like that question.
That's a good question. So, I probably have to go. Oh man, that's a hard question. I probably have to go John Turturro.
Okay.
He's just complicated and just fucked up and racist. And
who's your favorite basketball player? Who's your favorite? Right.
Yeah, I mean that scene alone, I was just like, I've kind of had those scenes and had those conversations with people. I'm like, it rang so true. Like, just rewatching it. Sweet Dick Willie.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with him. I mean, you can't beat that. Like, he's just, yeah, like I mean, I don't even think none of his lines are written down, right?
No, all ad-libbed.
All ad-libbed. It's just like
it's in the script, but you could tell.
No,
he had it was transcribed.
He put his thing on it.
That went way off book. It went way off book. Yeah,
for sure.
Just let it roll. Keep the camera rolling.
And then I think I think the mayor. Mayor, is probably Ossie Davis. That guy exists.
Yeah, man.
I see that guy every day, like straight up. Like, I just got a paper today and I was just like, oh, what's up, dude? Yeah. And that guy is like walking down the street, like drunk at like 9 o'clock. But we all love him. Like, if something happens,
we need your leadership.
Hey man, if he died, everybody'd be like, oh man, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
I think those are probably my top 3 for sure.
Okay, for sure. Joe, top 3.
Man, it's tough. It is such a tough question. I'm gonna. I love DC's choices.
Feel free to duplicate because we can talk about other characters as well.
Yeah, but some of these characters are so flawed that. But I think he's Vito. I don't think he's Pino. I think he's Vito. I think Turturro is Vito.
No, Turturro's Pino.
Is Pino? He's Pino. Okay.
Pino. Yeah.
So Pino's one of them though.
Okay.
And because I mean the song is literally called Magic Eddie Prince. When they go over it's called Magic Eddie Prince. When they go to the corner at the cigarette machine.
Yeah, in the score. Right?
And cigarette machine. I just want to say that again.
Yeah,
the cigarette machine.
Put in 25 cents.
Pull that big old long lever.
Yeah.
Gosh, this country has changed in so many ways. But no, I thought Turturro's character was eye-opening, was amazing, was real.
Yeah.
I thought his disillusion and delusional state that he was in people walking amongst us on a daily basis today, right now,
that voted for an orange dude for president.
or voted for Barack twice and still think that he was somehow above. He's not really black. I mean, he's more than black. More than black, that line, and I know Spike wrote it. But that line, I mean, he characterized an entire way that people think. Like, no, and we've heard it. Oh, no, you're not one of them. You're not one of them. Nigga, you don't know me, man. You don't know me.
Yeah, you're one of the good ones. Right.
Okay, just because we're talking.
Yeah, man.
Trust me. Trust me. Yeah. It's right here. It's on the surface. And maybe I need to ratchet it up more because you don't see it. But I loved his character's delusional state that he was in. And I thought Turturro played it beautifully all the way down the line. Even in the conversation, father and son. So love that. Also love Smiley.
Okay.
And Spike, and so Roger Guinevere Smith having Smiley in the film, in the neighborhood, in the neighborhood, going back to the block, we're not all thin, we're not all unimpaired in some way, we're not all. This is the block.
Everybody's neighborhood had somebody like that, though. We had
I mean, there's
something in my neighborhood, right?
There you go. Something somewhat different, right? And so the people who grew up around them, they just they've been growing up around them their whole lives, right? They know how to. They're probably tired of it, but they know how to talk to them. Yeah. And you see how Mookie talks to him. Mookie talks to right? Yeah. It is what it is. So that's number two. And even though he's like just seeking and searching for something. I love bugging out, man. As crazy as his ass is, I love bugging out as number three for me. Yeah. Because he says we're organizing a boycott. Who's we? Who is? No lie. I watched this last night. I had to rewind it again. Like, wait a minute, did he have a conversation with anybody before? So it was really just he said we and the royal we. Yeah. Are organizing a boycott. Yeah. And it was just him. Yeah. And then he in league, then he enlisted Radio Raheem, and then Smiley came along because he was out late. I don't know where his mama was. I don't know why he wasn't home yet.
The three oddest people in the neighborhood.
Yeah, in the whole neighborhood, right? Because we don't really understand what in the world Radio Raheem is about. I think of the song "A Life in the Day" about Radio Raheem, and I'm gonna get to that a little bit later. The Outkast song "A Life in the Day" on the last track on Love Below. Sure. But nonetheless, I love bugging out. Mm-hmm. Bugging out. He's just a kid walking around, got the Jordans. No telling what he had to do for those $108 shoes, and all that. That little scene with Jay. Jay tells him, if you would just direct these energies in a more worthwhile pursuit, it might really be beneficial to other people. So
we know how many bugging outs do we know from Morehouse, man? Like.
I know a real big one. I know really big one.
Let's not go there.
Okay, fair enough.
And I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna say this right here on this tape. So the thing happened with Dominique Wilkins. He was in the Bill Bouquet restaurant wearing track pants supposedly or something. They were against the dress code. Yeah, and they didn't seat him or whatever. Yeah, and so I was in the Spelman and Morehouse Facebook group. I had a notification that said, "What are we gonna do? The hell we gonna what? What are we gonna do? When the last time a group of UGA anybody?" I'm sorry. I saw that and I thought to myself, I thought of bugging out. I was like, the mayor, we need your leadership. Like, right. No. There are far more pressing things. Okay. Yeah. They put some brothers on the wall, I felt. Yeah. But I felt him. I understood why he said that. I got it. But there are far more pressing things. Let's put that energy on the more pressing things. Yeah. Okay. But to your point, we all know bugging outs. Yeah. And unfortunately, sometimes bugging outs, who they are at 18 is who they are at 38 and 48 and 58.
Yeah. And they think they're righteous. They righteous, man.
Oh, they are righteous.
Yeah. Yeah.
They are righteous. I'm gonna just
anyway. All right. Fair enough.
I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna end mines.
That's
from the Chronic.
Yeah, I know. My three.
What are your three?
My three. Sweet Dick Willie. Quotables on quotables on quotables on quotables. You know, you ought to boycott that barber that messed your head up.
Why don't you play some Bobby Blue Bland?
Right. Sweet Dick Willie has something for everybody, man.
Yeah,
and then,
man.
you know, just random.
I bet not see her naked on payday. Hey, look, I bet not see her naked on payday.
Right.
Oh my God. So much play. I've quoted that like at least like once a year. Like,
undefeated.
yeah,
That line is undefeated.
Yeah, man. And he whips out and pisses on the wall, on the Great Red Wall.
Oh yeah,
you know?
for sure. That
Like,
talking that Keith Sweat shit. I'm gonna.
DC, I have used that. I've used that ever since I heard it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Throughout my entire, always on that Keith Sweat. I'm gonna.
Yeah, man.
And I'm like, what did Keith Sweat do to you, man? I'm sure Keith Sweat was like, what did I do, bro?
The great treasure that is Robin Harris, man, dearly missed. And you know, I mean, anyway. So my number 2, bugging out, you know, for aforementioned reasons, like just, you know, the chaos. Like he's Loki. He's chaos. He's a maelstrom in that neighborhood. He's just, you know, misdirected energy, all over the place. Tasmanian devil, you know what I mean? Like, we need some brothers on the wall. Like, no, we don't. You know, like, you know, make your own restaurant, which is, you know. But then Spike's like, you know, these are 2 good valid points. But the guy delivering that valid point, bugging out now. You know what I mean? He's just, you know, no, he's too much. Flipping out over the shoe. I mean, yes, the scuff mark on the concrete white fours. I gotta say that again. The concrete white fours. Dopest shoes. Top 5 shoes ever to come out. You know what I mean? And, but you know, man, brother, come on, man. John Savage wasn't trying to end your life. You know, he anyway, bugging out, and then Demare. Just Ossie Davis's performance, man, in this film.
Yeah, man.
Ossie Davis, you know, and again, coming back to the conversation we had earlier, Joe. Yes, absolutely deserved to be nominated for some kind of award.
Yeah, man.
Just incredible.
Aykroyd is in Driving Miss Daisy. You could knock that out. I'm just gonna say that.
Come on, man.
I agree with that.
You could not. I didn't see Dry White season fully through. I was a little kid when I saw it. Really, I love Marty Landau and Crimes and Misdemeanors. I do. I mean, I do. And I think Danny Aiello stays there.
Yeah, sure.
And of course Denzel as Trip. I got no issue with that. But the Aykroyd, they pushed Aykroyd over. You watch Ossie Davis?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Like,
and I got my 3A or 3B. I'm cheating on my own category. But
you made it up, bro. You made it a question, bro.
Sal, I gotta give some props to Sal, man, because like really, you know, at the end of the day, Sal was just trying to run a business. He had love for the community. He really did. Like, you know, he's like, this is the community I feed. Like, he loves the community. You know what I mean? Now, we can talk about Black empowerment and bring the money out of the hood and all this kind of thing all we want to. But, you know, he got Mookie. Mookie's not a star employee. He's definitely keeping Mookie's mouth fed. You know what I mean? Sal and his flirtations with Jay, you know what I mean? Like, Sal
I always ask my kids at the end of the movie, is Sal a racist?
That's a great question, because like really, my answer, I'll give you my answer is no. My answer is no. I don't think he's a racist. I think he was pushed to racism, you know, in anger, and was pushed exactly. There's that Dutch angle. There's that Dutch angle. This is a Dutch angle, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. So you know, he was pushed to it. And I think what it really talks about is what we're capable of in our lowest moments. Like, you know, and really like listen to the commentary again. Aiello didn't want to use the N-word. He was like, yo, it's really hard for me to get here. And it wasn't until it wasn't until bugging out or till Giancarlo called him a guinea bastard. You know what I mean? And yeah, I think
and Giancarlo is Italian American himself.
Right.
Please go ahead.
But I just think that, like, you know, to answer your question, DC, I don't think he was racist. I think we all can be driven to a point of whatever we were raised with and whatever in our environment has in us and in our anger going there. But I don't think he was a racist. I think his son, absolutely, Pino was a racist. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But I'm curious to know what you guys think. So, Joe, what's your answer to DC's question to his students? And you're a race man, so
I am a race man. You know, I think this has evolved for me. I think when I was younger, I was automatically against Sal. I think though the answer about is he a racist? I don't know, because all I know is one day. That's one thing. I think his actions. Well, I think it depends on how you define what is a racist.
Okay.
And if you think your race is one race is better than another because of your membership in it, and you think the other races are inferior to you, all other races are inferior to you, and they have some kind of pecking order, then I think that would then you would be in turn a racist. I think that there were probably a number of latent things boiling under the surface for years for Sal. And after the conversation with his son that day, and it being the hottest day of the year, and remember the AC was broke getting in there, that it was just, this is just what was going to go down. And but is he a racist? I don't know. I don't know if I have enough information. Calling him a nigga, well, if calling him a nigga makes him racist, then he's a racist. And not just calling him a nigga, you're a nigga ass, as he said.
Yeah.
Okay.
You black motherfucker. Like a lot of intent there, right?
Yes. Because at that point, he was so upset. Yeah. And there's a scene, actually, Rosie Perez is in a scene with her mom. And her mom asked for something. Her mom speaks in Spanish and talks to her about the no good black guys she's dealing with. She says it in Spanish, which sets Rosie off, because Rosie had told the actress about her life growing up and about her mother saying the same things to her that would make her mad. And then she used it. Like the actress playing her mother used it immediately. And it set Rosie off, which is why she's like, they're all yelling at each other. I don't know what they're saying. There was Spanish, there was English, but I just remember Rosie's voice being very loud and very high pitched. Yeah. And just, you heard a lot of stuff, then door slamming. Yeah. And Spike knew he got it because the door slammed and he just, and thank gosh they got the scene and the kid was quiet and it was all good. But Sal's a racist. Yes, Sal's a racist.
How about Tina, just real quick, how about how great Tina was, Rosie Perez was as Tina for a debut actress? Like, I mean, you know, like to deal with that, that telling that personal, you know, and that's what actors do, getting a little bit of a personal thing and using that and getting it out of you, you know what I mean? But to her credit, like really put it on screen and being that way. So DC, what answer do you have for your students? Like, are you?
I don't really have an answer. I just always like to hear what my kids say. But you know, I just think a racist has power. A real racist has power, and they use that power. And so I don't know in this film. I think to your points, at the end of this film, like everybody's kind of accountable for all the shit that happens. I mean, the cops obviously are the worst of the fucking worst. Yeah. But you know, at the same time, you know, a riot happens after that, and you know, even at the confrontational scene, with everybody talking to the camera and saying like what they hate about like this specific race, like you know, everybody's kind of accountable for, you know, their actions here. And I think, you know, in the best situation, you know, Sal probably wouldn't have done that, but he did it. And so what's that mean? Like, what's that mean? Like, you know, he had a conversation with his son and, you know, it was different. You know, he had a different kind of tone than his son did. But, you know, at the same time, it's like, you know, when push came to shove, you know, he used the N-word,
and in that scene he went out of his way not to. If you because every time, because Turturro Pino was saying the niggas need to stay here and we need to be where they need to be in another place. He kept evoking the most hateful word. And he would say, no, these people, and no, I'm saying Pino kept evoking the most hateful word ever, right? And Sal's response was he wasn't going to go there. He wasn't going to engage that.
I get
that. No, to me, no, I'm just saying, I noticed that when I just watched it this past time, like every time he would say it, He was like, nah, he kept it like these people, they grew up on my food, you know, all this, all that, you know, and they said, go feed the moolies, go feed the moolies. They're not your friends. He didn't address what he said, really. He just said, you know, those people are not your friends. If they say if they put food on your table, then they're not your friends. You know, son, I'm not saying anything more than that. But I hear you. I hear you.
At the end of the day, like I said, at the end of the day, he did use that word, and
he did
kind of escalated everything. And you know,
and then they burned the place down.
Yeah,
every socket, every brick.
Yeah,
man.
So,
like nobody yells like Ayala.
I want to point out one thing real quick in that particular scene about the riot, like, you know, the juxtaposition of love and hate throughout the movie, you know, both literally when, you know, the story of love and hate with the brass knuckles, which I gotta find somewhere, man. Those brass knuckles were perfect. But like Mookie yelling out hate right before he's throwing the trash can through the window, and like the scene before that was full of love. You know, the people like, oh, let them in. They love my food. You know, I let them in here to get.
And I've raised these kids. Right. I've raised these kids with my food. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just the juxtaposition of love and hate all throughout, man. Like, you know, the scene behind you, man, with the mayor and mother sister, man. Like, you know, the love hate relationship they had. Like just love and hate all throughout this movie, man. Tina and Mookie yelling at each other and then making love. You know, Mookie and Jade, you know, Mookie doing brotherly love, brotherly hate, you know, all of it. It's yeah, exactly. Exactly, man. Exactly. I've been that guy. Yeah, man. So like, but let's have a conversation about Radio Raheem real quick, since like, I mean, you know, he's the elephant in the room. For me, like my nuances, it's a nuanced feeling about him. It's changed over time for me. I definitely, in my most recent viewing, was annoyed by Radio Raheem. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I guess I'm an old man now. You know what I mean? But like this is
God dang,
right. Blasting music all through the neighborhood. You know what I mean? Like you got your music playing, he gonna turn his up. You know what I mean? And there's a moment of respect for the, you know, with the Hispanic dudes, and you know what I mean? Like, I get it. You know what I mean?
Then,
like
then they went after him though down the street.
Yeah. He's berating the Koreans who, you know, again, like, I mean, they had their faults. You know what I mean?
March of 93. March.
You know what I mean? There's disrespect there. There's disrespect there for sure. You know what I mean? But everywhere Radio Raheem's going, he's annoying the fuck out of everybody. You know what I mean? Like he is. He's annoying the fuck out of everybody. And it's like, you know, but with all that being said, Radio Raheem has a right to live and to be. You know what I mean? And ultimately, he ain't really bothering anybody per se. He's just annoying as fuck. So like, I don't know. Like it's gone from a point, and you know, I love the story of love and hate. I love that. I've referred to it multiple times, but I'm annoyed by him, and I can see the annoyance that people have for him. Sweet Dick Willie, turn that shit down. You know what I mean? Play some Bobby B. Bland. You know what I mean? I guess I'm getting old, man. But Joe, how you
cooking
feel about Raheem, man?
As a kid, I thought he should be able to walk around with his box. As a father of a 7-year-old who's constantly saying, turn this down, and 46 years old, I could see where to your point, I could see where people would be annoyed. I would love to have had some more exposition on Radio Raheem. Why is it important for you to walk around the entire neighborhood blasting the same song? Do you like anything else? You don't like Public Enemy? Yeah, man, but you
I mean, there's other songs on the album.
It's other. No, that was the commentary.
I don't like nothing else.
I like nothing else.
Right.
I love that Bugging Out asked him.
Yeah.
You know, I love that he asked him.
Yeah.
But anyway, Radio Raheem, yeah, the radio got on my nerves. The radio, I don't even want to play with you about that, because if you imagine, I can imagine like right now on my block, if there's like five houses. Let's just say 5 houses all facing each other. And I'm in a street where there's probably 30 houses on this one street, and there's 15. And if somebody was walking up and down the street with a boombox over and over again,
it's a problem.
We'd have dealt with that. Now, granted, that's in a different type of neighborhood. It's not New York. Okay. Right. And so it is your neighborhood, but it's also the street. It's also, everything, it's also where everybody else is as well. And there's boundaries and all that kind of stuff. But I think I probably would have been annoyed by him. Did he deserve, and you didn't ask this. Did he deserve to die?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Did for not complying with his box? Maybe his box does get broken. No, maybe his box does get broken, but for not complying with his box. Maybe it does. Did he deserve to die? Of course not. He asked him more than once. He asked him earlier, and he complied.
Yeah, he complied.
He turned it off.
But as
the heat Sal's, no music, no music, no music, no music.
Yeah.
Yo, Sal, put some extra cheese on the mozzarella. I was gonna put some mozzarella on the motherfucking shit.
Put some extra mozzarella on this motherfucker. I love it.
Extra cheese is $2. All right, cool, no problem. But
$2
that music
in 1989.
That music probably would have annoyed me. I'm just to be honest with you, just living there in the neighborhood. But it did give me probably one of my favorite little tiny scenes after he had to face off with the Puerto Rican brothers on the stoop, and he goes down the street and does this, right?
Yeah,
that's the Spike thing, because gamma. After he does that, then the little kid runs up next to him, Mousy, and he gives him a high five. I thought that was so cool. And then the next scene, we get the refrain of the score. I mean, I'm a huge score guy, so I love it for that. But no, Ready Raheem, that would annoy the daylights out of me, man.
DC,
I'd be tired of that.
I mean, it annoys me. I hear it every day in New York. I mean, don't fucking play your pill box like right now. Like, what are we doing? Yeah, I mean, it annoys me, but yeah, like Joe said, like Calvin, you agreed. You didn't deserve to die for it. No. You mentioned a Greek chorus earlier, and I think of him as the Greek chorus of the movie. Just kind of going through the entire film.
Okay.
And you just keep hearing the same refrain, over and over and over, and like I think that's, I don't know, for a certain demographic that might be intimidating to hear. Yeah. Especially for the first time. You never heard rap music, you never heard Public Enemy. You just be like, what the fuck is this? So that was my thing. When I first saw it, I thought that I was just like, oh, like this is like the chorus going throughout the entire film. So but yeah, that's my opinion. I mean, I guess he is annoying. I didn't think it was annoying at the time. I guess like Joe said, I think as I get older, I'm just like, dude, what are you doing, man? I don't want to
hear it.
All night. You got it into the night.
You guys see Snowfall?
No.
Yeah.
I've told you. I told you.
Well, at the very beginning, I'm not spoiling anything. At the very beginning, there's a scene where like Leon and Franklin get on a bus, and Leon's playing his boombox much like this. You know what I mean? And like, I mean, he's intimidating. To your point, that's what made me think about it. DC. He was intimidating the other passengers on the bus with this music. You know what I mean? And turning it up, and I mean, using music as a weapon is underrated.
It's
underrated. That's totally right.
It's underrated.
Music can be a weapon. No, to you, music very much can be. When you bump into a certain thing, you're telling everyone around you.
You go into a police department playing some Rage Against the Machine. You know what I mean? Like,
that's totally right.
That's
totally right. Yeah, that's totally right.
Yeah,
I never told you guys my Ernest Dickerson story. I mean,
tell it.
Let's go right there. Let's go. Great segue.
It's not really a story, but
it's one more than we have.
I was in a Ralph's in LA. Ralph's is like the
grocery
store there.
And, we know the Ralph's.
I was in line. Oh God, it must have been a Sunday morning at like, I don't know, 10:30. And like, I just casually look behind me and I see a black man with dreads. And I was just like, I just kind of look closer. He was like, I don't know, two people behind. I was like, is that Ernest Dickerson? And I paid for my stuff, and came out and went back around and looked at him. And I was just like, are you Ernest Dickerson? And he was like, I am. How do you know that? And I was just like, I'm a big fan of your work. Just keep doing what you're doing. Like, I love it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he was so shocked that like somebody knew who a cinematographer was. It was just like, he was like, "Thank you so much," and that was it. Like it was just like, we walked away. But yeah, it was just random, like a random Sunday in LA. So.
That made his day, I'm sure. I mean, I bet he was kind of weirded out, but it also made his day. Like, to know
Maybe.
somebody knew his work, man.
Well, I started at Howard University, and he was to us. I mean, he was.
Yeah,
it was Haile Garima was our professor, but Ernest Dickerson of Sankofa, of Sankofa fame, and other things. But Ernest Dickerson was our Spike, and his contributions to the craft were legendary to us then, and just burgeoning at the time. Yeah. And if you think about it, he shot those initial 5 at least pictures, and and we studied them, we break them down, we talk about them, and then he made Juice as well, and so he was as big a deal to us as Spike, because we didn't have at Howard, there wasn't a film deity. Like, I mean, there's only one Spike. So Spike is Spike. Yeah. But Ernest Dickerson to us was just as big, because once we understood the importance of cinematography, it was like, oh, this doesn't work without the collaboration between the two. And we looked at it as a way that, despite the bitter rivalry and quote unquote hatred between the schools, that obviously the love of film and good film about beautiful Black people could bring two of their finest alums together to create this stuff that we love to discuss. And one of those films is one we're talking about tonight, Do the Right Thing. So Ernest Dickerson was a GAWD god to us, the bass god to us. Like, he was everything. Absolutely everything to us. Especially when you got on that hallway, man, and where the film major was, his picture was up. They talked about everything he worked on. I mean, it was clear that you weren't going to leave without a healthy appreciation for his work. And I don't know if he ever saw. I mean, I'm sure he did see it, but I don't know if he was aware of just how many people, just those acolytes, those young acolytes that love his work, love his stuff. But this film is absolutely beautiful. And if we talk about things that were robbed, I mean, look at this lighting on this. Look at this. He's getting off, man.
Yeah.
Okay. He's getting off.
I mean, for a lot of us, he's the most important cinematographer ever. Like, because Spike. If it's look, and when I talk about Spike, I mean, I'm talking about the whole canon, but I'm talking about 5 for 5. I'm talking about right. This the wheelhouse, okay, and the initial ascent, and he did. So he stopped with Malcolm X. So he did 6. That's what. Remember we talked to Jamal about. I can't remember what it was, and he was like, "Oh, look, Spike got couple more setups now. It's not quite the same. The shoots are looking a little different now. It's not quite the same. Like what happened? Ernie. I don't know why. They haven't come back together. I hopefully, perfectly, one day they do. But and they've all done their thing. But Dickerson got off, man.
I also think, Malcolm. We're talking about like Oscar robberies, like the fact that he didn't get nominated for Malcolm X is like, you look at that film and it's just like, it's 3 different distinct looks in that film.
Yeah.
Each act looks completely different, and it's very specific. Yeah. It's just, I don't know. It's just highway robbery. So I totally agree with that.
Yeah. Even that the mural behind you, Calvin. Yeah. The mural. Yeah. Behind you. Yeah. The Jamaican, Puerto Rican. That's a very important mural. And when they did the 30-year, it was either the 30-year or 25-year, it had faded, to a place. It had faded. And I think they repainted it or something like that. On the block. And also that, he painted the Brooklyn's own Mike Tyson up there, which is really, isn't that how we saw them? at first. Isn't that how we saw the three fellas at first? It was like a Mike Tyson discussion. Fuck Mike Tyson. Remember when he robbed that woman right on Lexington?
Yeah.
Hey boy. But I'm sorry. That movie is very much 1989.
Yeah.
Because three brothers on a corner.
Yeah.
On a Saturday in Brooklyn would definitely, with a huge looming Brooklyn song, Mike would definitely be discussing Mike Tyson.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
At the height of his powers.
Yes. He hadn't lost it yet. He was still champ.
Yeah.
Particularly when they made it and when it was released. He didn't lose it till 90. So he was losing it. We didn't know it. But
yeah, no,
yeah.
that's true.
Another difficult to impossible question, but I'm gonna ask it. Favorite scene, DC.
He said he had 3, so I'm buckling up for this.
Well, no, I mean So give me a 3.
My favorite scene in the movie is John Turturro and Aiello having that conversation.
Okay.
It's just, it starts out. I always tell my students, like, every great scene has its own narrative, right?
Mm-hmm.
Think about a movie. You have a beginning, middle, end, right?
Mm-hmm.
And every scene has to have a beginning, middle, end. And that scene really encompasses that. Like, he's been fed up the whole movie, voices it to his dad. His dad comes back to him about it. And then, it culminates in, Smiley and him getting into it with the 3 guys. And, Aiello having to rectify the whole situation. And it sets up everything in the 3rd act.
Yeah.
I just think, like, watching that movie and the way it's shot, I mean, they don't cut away. It's just one shot, like right there. And we see both of them on screen, and the way it's lit, it's getting to dusk, and it's just amazing. It's an amazingly acted scene and written well, like all that. The other scene, my second scene, if I had to rank it, would be the scene by the cigarette machine, for sure. I think that conversation is very relevant in the Black community, especially now. And then, I don't really have I wouldn't call it a scene, but it's when Spike basically breaks the 4th wall for everybody. I mean, I was mesmerized as a kid. Like, I could not believe, like, I was like, what is going on here? Why are people talking to me directly?
Yeah.
Spitting out, like, racial epithets. Like, it was just crazy. It was just like, okay. But that Danny Aiello, John Turturro scene is just like, that is cinema to me.
Yeah. I mean, well, to your point about the one scene with the racial epithets and everything, he had to come back to it. It's so iconic that he had to come back to it in 25th Hour.
Yeah, that's right.
And he doubled down. I mean, he doubled down on that.
He hit everybody he didn't hit before.
I mean, and with the visual
South Park style.
Yeah. we got to do something. We got to do bigger, longer, and cut. I mean, I'm sorry. We got to do bigger, longer, and cut. But we got to do bigger, longer, and cut. Okay. But no, he did it with visuals.
Yeah.
I'll never forget when the ladies out front of the building, the Park Avenue building, and she's calling for the taxi, and they're fed. It's just, that's stuck in my head.
Yeah.
That's still stuck in my head. But as we all know, it's born up, but that was from a book. And the person who wrote the book saw Do the Right Thing. Yeah. And it was like the ability to be able to spin that back and turn that and put that back in 25th Hour 12 years later. 13 years later. That's pretty live. But I want to say this about that. When we were talking about Ernest Dickerson, that scene, and the song is called Father and Son. And if it starts, it's really nice, light, and then it goes into like this jazz improvisation when all the mayhem breaks loose, when Smiley's hitting the glass, and you could see the anger because he's keeping it cool. Turturro's like just talking to his dad. There's no reason to be angry with his father. He's keeping it cool, but the wick is so short, man. He's got no more patience for it. Yeah. And he's been doing. If you think about it, it's been his whole life, and you're a grown man, and you talk about you got to. I mean, and this is what you do every day. Yeah. This is literally what you do every day, all day Saturday, with no AC in there, by the way. Yeah. But if you notice in that scene, to your point about Dickerson, it's just slowly panning in, and it is so beautiful. Literally, when I was dozing off last night when I was watching, I said, "Oh, nope, wake up! I gotta see this scene because I
You gotta
love
have
that.
all your faculties in that moment.
And to DC's point, when he gets out of when he goes outside and he is woefully unprepared to go one-on-one ad lib with Robin Harris. Let's just say that straight up. John Turturro was way out of his element going one-on-one with Robin Harris on ad libs. No, that boy ain't right. That ain't right, Sal. It's messed up, Sal. Come on, Sal. Come on, ain't right. And all these other stuff. Come on over here. I ain't going over there. I ain't go. But he held his own. He held his own. But so my scenes. So I got a huge crush on Ruby D. All right.
Okay.
So there's a reason she's behind me right now in this picture, right?
Mother sister, man.
Mother sister. Yeah. So when I love the scene when not even excuse me. God bless me. I love the scene.
God bless you, sir.
Thank you.
I wasn't trying to step on you.
You are so pretty. No, I love the scene when he brings the flowers. I think it's cool. I think it's really cool. Yeah. However, I like the scene earlier after he's saved Eddie Lavelle and from the car. Yeah. And he starts telling a story and everything. I love that scene when he's telling the story. He's like, I was on first and with the third on a little little pot fly, a mudcat bag of bones was on the mound, right? Spring Hill, Alabama. He tells the story and he says, and he almost took off like a lightning off a white light off a black cat's head. And he stops and she's looking at him like, I didn't ask you all. I didn't say anything.
What is you talking about?
Yeah, what are you talking about? Like I just said you did a good thing. And he's like, okay. And he doffs his hat. Yeah. And then she has a look. She's like, this dude. I love that. Yeah. Okay. I love that. I love their chemistry. Obviously,
it's an everyday thing with them. He's
it is the back and forth, and he's trying, but hey, at the end, he ended up in the crib though.
I mean, there's a reason why.
Yeah. He ended up in the crib though. But so that scene where he's telling her, where she's congratulating him or thanking him for saving the young man. I love that. Frank Vincent, the Frank Vincent water scene. Yeah. And I didn't want to interrupt DC's story about Goodfellas earlier. Obviously, that's the guy who's getting stabbed, right? Philly Leotardo. Yeah, Philly Leotardo, Frank Vincent. Yeah. Mo and Joe Black. They're brothers, sir? Yeah, they're brothers. Yeah, they're brothers. Right? Yeah. So Danny Aiello Jr. was the other police officer, the bigger one who looks just like his dad, by the way.
AKA Rick. Rick Aiello.
Rick. Rick. I'm sorry.
But he's Junior.
He's Danny Jr. So with the police, I love that scene. Yeah. When basically he says those who tell don't know, and those who know don't tell. Yeah. And Frank Vincent's just standing there like, well, what the fuck? Like, what happened? Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, leave in your wet car? Like, because at that point the police were like, what do you want us to do? You see what's going on. Nobody's going to ever say they did it. They're never going to give these kids up. Like it's not going to happen. So just let it go. But I love that scene. And then if I have a third scene, because I'm just going to go 3. Thank you, Calvin. I mean, it's the ice cubes. It's the ice cubes, and we all
thank God for that.
We all tried it, or many of us have tried it.
All 3 of us in here probably have.
Okay, well, many of us have tried it, hopefully successfully, and hopefully with some success. So had he not brought that to us, I wouldn't have had another thing in the arsenal. So I don't think
on your bench.
Yeah, definitely on the bench. Definitely on the bench. I don't think nothing more about that scene needs to be even said. So
no.
Thank you. Hey, thank God.
What's understood don't need to be explained.
always appreciated about Spike. Calvin, I know you have your 3 scenes next.
No, it's all good.
What always appreciated about Spike was that he just did not give a fuck about anybody outside of the Black community understanding what's going on.
It's not written for anybody else.
It's like every movie does every Spike movie have sexuality? I feel like every single Spike movie has some bit of like sexuality.
The first 5. Does Malcolm? Well, no, Malcolm does too. Malcolm X does. Malcolm does too. Yeah. Definitely
it's always something with black sexuality, and he doesn't shy away from it. He's just like,
no,
this is
inside,
what it is.
probably like Inside Man doesn't. That's probably it.
Well,
But
they refer to it, right?
they do. They do.
They do refer to it like Big Willie and the twins.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And at the end, she is on the bed. She is on the bed.
And thank God for Rosario in 25th Hour. I want to put that out there.
All out here. Out here. So
thank God for 25th Hour. Thank God for 25th Hour.
Yeah. When I saw School Days, I was just like, oh, this movie was not made for anybody else outside the black community.
Yeah.
Also, the fact that like you kind of are telling inside secrets. Like,
well, he did that with I think that was one of the big things that, or the people that were saying that he should have done that with School Days, when he was talking about the color complexes. Oh yeah. Okay.
No,
okay,
School Days
out there.
School Days is like, when you watch it, you're just like, oh, dude, I don't think people should be here that are not black. Like,
let's not have this.
We already had Imitation of Life though. Like, it's not like we didn't already.
No, not like that.
Not like that. Like, we got family here. Like, what's going on?
But you know what's interesting, and I think, and I'm always curious about. I mean, I'm not gonna say he's a friend of somebody that I don't know that he's necessarily a friend of, but I've seen several photos of them, and they're both New York filmmakers, and they're both fans of the Knicks. And we mentioned Woody before, and you're a filmmaker and a professor of film, so you know Woody Allen does not care. Full stop. Full stop.
Yeah,
Woody Allen makes movies about what he wants to make movies about, and if you don't get it, and you don't, and his own New York.
Yeah, he's not about accessibility.
That's not at all. Not at all. So either you go there and try to find what's relatable.
Yeah.
Or you don't, and you just you just ignore it, or you sidestep it. That's just not just not what you'll be dealing with. You know
I'm on the school of thought that exposition kind of insults your audience a bit. Like, too much exposition, too much accessibility. Like, if you get it, you get it.
And the reason I'm saying is because the reason I'm saying is because probably Woody's best film, to my mind, Annie Hall, Hannah and her sister, somewhere in between there, or even. He at least sets those films up. In Manhattan, which is probably my favorite Woody Allen film, in black and white, beautiful. Yeah, he has a 17-year-old girlfriend at the beginning of the film. I don't know how they met. They're at Elaine's at 10, 11 o'clock at night. Yeah, his married best friend is there with his wife. No one's tripping. No one's asking any questions. Shout out
to Jerry Seinfeld.
Shout out to Jerry Seinfeld. Shout out to Woody himself. Yeah. So my point is, he never explained it. And if you don't get it, all right, it wasn't for you to get. Yeah. And I think Spike said, "Oh, okay, NYU, okay, I see this. Of course, I see your stuff. I don't care that you all don't understand. I don't care that we're using the drum beat, like in Shad said, we're using drum beats. You just don't. We're using drums, so y'all don't pick up what we're saying. As Shad said that in the Police. I'm talking about 1970 Shad. He said in
Richard Roundtree.
Yeah, Richard Roundtree. But to his credit, thank God, he don't care. He don't. Care.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not like it didn't happen before. Like, Charles Burnett was doing films in the 70s, that were very specific, and people were picking up on that. But Spike he's pretty mainstream by the time Do the Right Thing came around, and he was just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do my own shit. And if you don't get it, you don't get it, and that's it. And that's bold as hell.
Yeah. What are your three scenes?
So my three scenes, the first one is the steel post driven, can't stand the heat, like just that whole montage.
Oh man.
You know what I mean? And the frankness is part of that, you know what I mean? But like just that whole montage is just perfect about how a hot summer day goes and how it feels out there, and I thought that set a good tone for what was to come in the film, the build up, the rise of what was coming in it. The second one for me, that I'm trying to mention things that haven't really been mentioned, but the scene with the John Savage scene where he runs over his shoe, and yeah, man, right, exactly, and you got C, my man Martin Lawrence in his debut film, Martin Lawrence, and And Steve White, good old Steve White is a mod. Steve White is in so many of Spike's films, you know what I mean? And you know, is ever present there. I had to look her up, man. Krista Rivers. I like Ella. She's not in anything else. This is her only credit. But she was fantastic. I really enjoyed her performance.
She went to Howard. I thought wasn't was he C or was he Punchy? Which one was
Punchy is Leonard Thomas. That's the one that cusses out.
Okay, that's Leonard Thomas.
That's the one that gets into it with the bear about his situation when he's like, you don't know what it's like to come home.
And what's the first brother's name who's been like 8
Ahmad.
12 of
Ahmad. Yeah, Steve White. Yeah.
Steve White.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
General Jig Boy Patton.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Yeah.
And he also killed Malcolm.
Yeah.
One of the killers of Malcolm.
He did.
Yeah.
Get your hand out of my pocket.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And the third one for me is the riot. The riot, and it just like from the moment Mookie takes the trash lid, takes the trash bag out of the trash can, grabs trash can 161, and slams it through that plate glass window, and just the sheer anger, everybody getting all of the volatility, everything like that out in that moment, and then the reaction from the city. I sometimes have to skip the scene of Radio Raheem being killed, but I never skip the riot itself. The riot itself was like just so much what is the word I'm trying to use? Well, cathartic. It's very cathartic. And people, Spike in his commentary, this is my favorite part of the commentary, he's always talking about how white people get so indignant about the destruction of property when a man has just died. You know what I mean? But they get indignant about it. And they, in George Floyd, the wake of George Floyd stuff, the wake of, any type of outrage, uprising that we have, it's always about the property and the inconvenience. And it's like, motherfucker, protest is designed to inconvenience you. You're supposed to be inconvenienced. If you're not inconvenienced, we haven't done what we set out to do. You know what I mean? So we're gonna stand in front of your car. You know what I mean? And just like it gets to that. And it is visceral, and there's so much anger, and you can recall. Now, this is one thing I recall very clearly about when the movie came out, was that there was fear that Black people would riot as a result of watching.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that was big. But
it was emotionally resonant. Like, I can see why they were fearing it, because like you get angry in that moment, like you really do. And the fact that this film simulated the exact circumstances pretty much of all of these cases that have occurred, man. All of these cases that have occurred. And he's still doing it.
Over some dumb shit. Always over some dumb shit.
Over the dumbest shit. You know what I mean? And they just still don't get it. It's still the destruction of property. It's still more important and Black people are so dehumanized. And it's crazy that we had this perfect microcosm of that situation on film, on celluloid.
1989.
And it's still happening. You know what I mean? So those are my three scenes, man. And
that's great. That's fantastic. Yeah. That's fantastic.
I skipped over the his death as well, and just went right to when I watched last night. I was like, okay, it was at the 27-minute mark. It was a 27-minute mark because he had ILO in the chokehold and they went out of the door, and I had it said 27 minutes left on the thing. I was like, I don't want to watch another Black man die tonight before I go to bed. And then I went ahead because there's that lull. It's kind of like in the Titanic, when it's bobbing.
Yeah.
It's bobbing, and then it just, oh yeah, that's a good one. And then it just, it does this thing and goes down. There's like the period when they thought everything was gonna be safe, and they go flat, but then that went down too.
Yeah.
All bad.
Yeah.
All bad. It was like a little piece, and then, they got him out of here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was that. Go ahead. I don't know if you had a question.
No. Go. Flow,
I got a question about when ML came at the Korean the brother who owned the store, the bodega.
The great Steve Park.
The great Steve. Steve Park's been like a zillion things, by the way. Literally a zillion things.
Yeah.
And he's had a wonderfully healthy career. Steve Park has.
Yeah.
And when he said, and he came to him, he said, "Me black, me black." When I was a kid, or 14, 15, when I first saw it, I don't think I quite understood what he was saying until probably a year or two later. But I thought that was Spike's way of weaving in oppression. So last week, we asked for like an unsung hero or who the favorite character was. Lenny said about Trading Places. Lenny said race.
Yeah.
And in Trading Places, and I was like, man. And I
shout
talked
out
about
to
this earlier,
Durag Lenny. That was great.
Yeah, shout out to Durag Lenny for that. Absolutely.
Durag Lenny.
Absolutely. Shout out to Durag Lenny for that. But he mentioned race, and I think about, race is obviously at the forefront of this film. I mean, without question.
Forefront background.
I mean, it's everywhere. And it's everywhere. And look at the colors, like I was saying before. Look at the color behind me, and look at the colors behind you, by the way, Cal, as well.
No, it's beautiful.
I mean, he was.
Yeah.
They were going off. Yeah, they were going off, by the way. But I was going to say that I was, when he said, me black, I'm black too, and in other words, I'm oppressed too. I'm dealing with racial things as well, as an immigrant, as a person with a store in this neighborhood, and just trying to get by myself. I'm worried because y'all could turn around on me just like they were about to. And I'm curious though about you all's feelings about what he said, about what Steve Park's character said, and if you felt he was black too.
That's a good question. I'm fine with it. I mean, obviously he was saying it to get out of a situation.
Yeah,
of course.
Of
course.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, hey, dude, we're all in this shit together.
Yeah.
That's really it. It's just like, dude, we're all trying to figure this shit out. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I'm here too. I just bought my own business, and he runs a bodega. It's not like he's a millionaire. Like, it's just like, just I just thought that's what I thought in the situation when it was happening. Even when I watch it now, I'm just like, yeah, man. He's just like, dude, we're all in this together. Like, what are you talking about? Like, why are you attacking me?
But ML have been pissed all day. So
he'd be pissed all day, and it's just like, but it wasn't like he was exploiting black people.
No.
It just, he had his bodega, and that was it. And
a good business in our neighborhood.
Right. He was just running his store, and like,
ML, you could have got ML. What you going?
So for me, it's nuanced. It's nuanced for me, man. It's nuanced because, like, for me, like, I come from a black empowerment background with my dad. You know what I mean? And so my dad is like, taking money out of the community. You know what I mean? And like not recirculating those dollars. That's always a thing for me. So there's that part of it. They were disrespectful, not just with Radio Raheem, but also like, when the mayor goes to buy the flowers and she's like, it's very expensive. Like, he's like, I know, I got the money, like that kind of stuff. I guess I'm sensitive to it. You know what I mean? Where people like, oh, you can't afford, like, that's they didn't come with the respect necessarily. But then when Radio Raheem is killed, like Steve Park is right there beating on the police car. Yeah, he's right there with them. You know what I mean? So to that point, he's it's not out of self-preservation as much as it may seem initially, because he was angry about that as well. And so when he says I'm black, like he was like he recognized that he was in it with and like it's kind of like, again, how prescient this film is. Like the stuff that's going on now with the spa in Atlanta. You know what I mean? And how again
Asian crowd,
AAPI.
Asian hate, AAPI.
And the black community always rallies around other communities that are being oppressed and doing stuff happening for them. You know what I mean? And in this one instance, you see that like one of the members of that community was having our back in that situation. You know what I mean? Which was not typically the case. You know what I mean? So it's nuanced, but to the question that you asked, I don't think that I think that I get it, and I see him being like he was down.
I was just, I was
pass.
curious. I was
He gets a
14,
pass for me.
15. Yeah, I was 14, 15 when I saw it. I didn't quite
Yeah.
understand it. When I was a little older,
Yeah.
I did understand. Like, you're not black. No. But I did understand it. Obviously as I got older. So I was just curious about that for you guys.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. This is
It's a good question.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Especially since Latasha Harlan's had happened around then, right?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
So it's a big it's a great question.
Yeah.
It's a great question.
And I had a screenshot with Tawana Told the Truth.
I was yeah.
I had a screenshot with Tawana. And look, DC, you mentioned earlier, hey, long career, there's hits and there's misses, right?
Yeah, man. Sometimes you fuck up. It's all good.
There's
Hey,
hits
man,
and misses.
I've died on worse hills. You know what I mean? I definitely have.
She was in the video though. She's in the video for Fight the Power in all white.
She is dancing. Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
She is.
Yeah.
Yep.
She went to Howard too. She worked at the Gap. My boys told me. At Pentagon City.
Pentagon City Mall.
Yeah, Pentagon City at the Gap. And I was like, oh, word? Like, oh yeah, she's up. Yeah. Like 3 days a week.
Al Sharpton made a career. You know.
Yeah.
But he fucked that whole thing up. So
which we read or saw in Bonfire of the Vanities.
I mean,
well.
It's what it is. I know you guys might have more questions. I was thinking, I don't know. Listen,
go for it.
Having these conversations, I love it, and I definitely want to say I'm gonna shoot my shot for doing a Moonlight special, and also doing a Devil in a Blue Dress is. I'm always down to talk about it. Like, so we could do that. I also have a question for you guys, because I've been talking about this with my wife, and we finally went out with like actual people this weekend, which was great. I was just like, I
haven't done that.
Society exists. So like, that's great. The Mountain Rushmore of American directors.
American directors.
So are we literally taking it like it is Mount Rushmore? So there's
four. My
go ahead.
My thing is the fourth. That's the hardest, because I think it's Spielberg.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Coppola.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Scorsese.
Mm-hmm.
You could argue Spike.
You could argue it.
You could argue Kubrick.
You could.
I don't know. I don't know what you guys think. Like, it's something.
I just want to say this real quick. Essentially, that's a crew, by the way. It's interesting. Your first three. It's interesting. The first three are a crew.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
No, I mean that's
they all hung out together.
That's squad.
Minus
squad.
De Palma. Yeah, minus De Palma.
Yeah, minus De Palma. You're missing De Palma and Lucas.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
But that's a squad. And De Palma's really like the other one. He's like, and so he's like Jerobi. But he's crew. He's crew.
AEY. And sometimes Y.
Jerobi.
A Crack Quest has 4 members. But he's still very much, part of it. Me, being a black man like myself,
a race man,
but a black man like myself, I would put Shelton Jackson Lee in there.
Yeah,
but I could definitely be easily persuaded to see who else would be the fourth. But those first three, you can't. There's not beating those first three.
Yeah, it's unassailable. It's
someone might have an issue with Coppola, but if they do, just stay with me. The question is, how many seminal works are you looking for? Because if you think of it, if your greatest work was in a 7-8 year span, maybe that's fine. But if those are 5 or 3 of the top 5 to 10 best films ever made, okay, maybe you need to shut up. Like that's okay then.
His run was amazing.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
But once
Terrell Davis.
Once we got to like when Reagan was elected, it was Terrell Davis. He's in the Hall of Fame. I never thought he was going to be in the Hall of Fame because I thought the sample size was too small. I really did. I thought the sample size was too small. But he is in Canton, and Darren Woodson of the Dallas Cowboys is not. And neither is Nate Newton.
Yeah.
But that's for other reasons. But he's in Canton.
Yeah.
And so I could see, but I mean, he made Thriller. You know,
Yeah.
in the words of Chappelle,
He made Thriller. He made Thriller.
He made Thriller.
He made Thriller.
Like I said,
I love it.
we don't have
No,
to
I
answer,
love that.
we don't
No,
have to
I love
answer the
that.
question right now. We don't have to
Oh
answer
no! I'm ready to mend it out.
What you got for your fourth? What you got for your or what you got for your four?
My four is different. I mean, like, and
you might have young Quentin Jerome in there.
All love to I don't. All love to Quentin Jerome is his own thing. Hey, God bless, because I love Quentin Tarantino. God bless Quentin Tarantino, but like it's something else for him. Like, he's not on the Mount Rushmore.
I got it.
No, I get that.
Maybe he'll get his own monument somewhere else. You know what I mean?
I get that.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a little different.
Stone Mountain. Stone Mountain.
Oh boy. All right. So I love Steven Spielberg. I love Steven Spielberg, but like I got issues. I got issues with Steven Spielberg. So, and especially like, yeah, I got issues with Steven Spielberg. I'm not going to delve into it. So he's not on my list. And as much as I love Coppola, to your points that you made, you know, Coppola is fantastic. He's not on my Mount Rushmore, because I've given it thought. Actually, it's actually great that you asked this question. Spike's on my Mount Rushmore. And
okay.
It's not just because of it's because of the breadth of his work.
Yeah, man, I get it.
You know what I mean? He's
you have to explain. You have to explain.
Okay.
Yeah,
Marty Scorsese. You know, just powerhouse. You know, again, not to get too derivative into the rewatchables, but they talked about the fact that he had one of the best films of the 70s, one of the best films of the 80s, one of the best films of the 90s, one of the best films of the 2000s, just remarkably consistent.
Yep.
What they say for the 2000s?
Was
Departed?
it, Wolf of Wall Street, I think was. When did Wolf of Wall come? When did Wolf come out? It wasn't Departed. It wasn't Departed.
Was it Gangs in New York? It might have been Gangs in New York.
It may have been, or Aviator.
Okay.
It might have been, I think it was Aviator.
Oh, maybe it's Aviator. Okay. Okay. I'll back off that.
And mine is more mod.
I was ready to fight on that one, but I'll back off that.
Mine has a more modern.
You didn't say it. They said it. You didn't say it.
Fair enough. Mine has a more modern tinge to it too. Also,
okay.
Because number 3 for me is Wes Anderson. Just what he's done with film.
That's my dog. You know I love that man.
What he's done with film.
That's my dog too. That's my dog.
He's changed film. And like the way that he approaches storytelling and everything is just you know, and his time periods, perfect. And then y'all's guy, David Fincher. Make included.
Okay.
Make especially, because that's solidly in the middle for me.
I'm glad Joe. I told you to go and watch Mank. I'm glad I told you to watch Mank. Just so you can see the evolution. I mean, you just
good time was later. And really, what did it for me was the scene at the end. Spoiler for anybody who has not seen the movie, but you know, you've gotten to this point at probably 1.5 and 1.75 times speed. So here you are. You know, that scene at the end when he is revealing, like he's just revealing his plot. Like, yeah, I'm gonna make this film, and like at the dinner scene, like, you know, it was perfect. It was great. That was great. So yeah,
Fincher had me at he had me at Social Network. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna watch whatever I need to watch.
I had simultaneous season tickets for Fincher and Trent Reznor after 7. That was
7 was good for me. Yeah, I was like, whatever this guy does. Like,
I saw it late. I saw it late, and somebody spoiled it for me.
And then
somebody spoiled it for me.
I had the very special edition of Fight Club that came in like a brown paper bag type looking deal. That was like it was not quite Criterion Collection, but it was like kind of like
that's the one I had.
The New Line version of Criterion Collection.
That's the one, yep.
And like, you know, just like watching that movie over and over and over again, looking for when Tyler Durden spliced into the film, and you know, just like looking for all the little Easter eggs in that movie. Going back and reading Chuck Palahniuk's book, which is, you know, a different thing altogether, but still the same. Just Fincher has that thing. So those are my, but that's DC. That's like the dinner question from now on. As a matter of fact, when I have my little birthday get together on Tuesday, I'm gonna ask people their Mount Rushmore.
I mean, we have not mentioned Paul Thomas Anderson, who
he was so close.
Who might be the best existing American filmmaker. He might be the best.
The problem is,
yeah,
he lost me with the master. He lost me with the master.
I get that.
He lost me.
I tried it twice, man. I was like, man, I'm falling asleep for some reason. Like I can't. I did broad daylight. It was like reading an accounting book for me. I love those people.
People swear by that movie.
Hot take alert. I'm not a Joaquin guy. I'm sorry, man.
No, it's
like
that's fine.
Not even in Parenthood. Not even Leaf Phoenix in Parenthood. When he was jacking off to the. When he was watching the movies and the movie fell out.
I'm more Keanu.
Not even Commodus. Not even Commodus. No. Yeah.
Nah, man. Nah. Don't
worry. You don't have to. You don't have to be.
What? No, I
loved him in Walk the Line. I loved him in Walk the Line.
Walk the Line is my favorite Joaquin.
I really liked Walk the Line.
And I'm a big Johnny Cash guy. So that's
I got so deep into Cash, man. After I was like, golly,
you're a Johnny Cash guy, DC? You like Johnny Cash?
Oh, of course. Okay. I'm not a communist. Like, what are we talking about? Yeah, of course. I love Johnny Cash.
We're not communists. We're not communists.
What are you talking about?
Barzini.
Yes.
Barzini creeps his head up into the conversation.
Oh,
yes. Joe, what's left for us to talk about, man? Is it
societal impact? We kind of touched on it. I mean,
it's still happening.
The George Floyd. George Floyd anniversary is days away.
Still happening. All still happening.
Spike was on the money, man, and he scared folks. He scared. He terrified people. He terrified people with this, and it is still happening. It will happen as we know it. It's going to get hotter. Spike's premise was when it gets hotter, crime rates go up.
Yeah.
Yep. That's right.
Our hometowns, the three of us, Chicago, Atlanta, Dallas.
Yeah.
We know this.
Yeah.
As it gets hotter, more killings, more shootings, more crime. Yeah. And the murder rate increases. That's what Spike said. Literally, the murder rate increases.
Yeah. They call it killer season in Chicago. Yes.
There you go. Yeah. And you know, it's of course it's foreshadowing at the beginning when Sal says, I'm gonna kill somebody today. When his sons won't listen to what he's saying, won't listen to what he's doing. It's on the nose foreshadowing, but you don't even think about it, right? You're like, whatever, what's he talking about? It's his kids are getting on his nerves. I get it, you know. But he does. Yeah. I mean, he does have something to do with someone dying. Yeah. And when he started the day, did he think that was going to happen? No, he did not, but it did. And he probably will face no consequence whatsoever. Not unlike many people who commit these crimes, regardless of what they do for a living. So I think it's the societal impact, man. It's as relevant today, and it scared the daylights out of people. And so they want to talk about, the destruction of property. What is this saying? He's telling you the truth. He's telling you what is happening. No,
they still don't get it.
And I think it was even worse. I think it was even worse in Cannes or Cannes, whatever you say it, when they were up for some stuff, and then in the companion book for Mo Better Blues, he talks about the Cannes Film Festival and Do the Right Thing. Mm-hmm. And the title of the chapter is called "We Was Robbed." Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. And essentially, like, they got dressed up. They were up for the Palme d'Or and didn't get it. I can't remember who won that year, but they didn't get it. And they were up for a bunch of things, and they just got, snubbed. And they said that he didn't understand why he threw the just like you said, through 161 through the glass. They didn't get it. And that was in 1989, bruh. Yeah. And here we are in 2021, and people still don't get it. Yeah, 32 years later. Or they don't know, they don't show,
don't care.
Don't care what's going on in the hood. You know what I'm saying?
All facts.
DC, how you feel about the societal impact?
I think the societal impact, yeah. I mean, I really don't have anything to add to that. I mean, that's pretty much it. Yeah. Unless you guys want to hear my you guys mentioned Richard Roundtree earlier. Did I tell you guys my Richard Roundtree story?
No, please do. I'm ready for it.
So, eventful time in LA. I was only there for like 6 years, but always eventful. So, we can end on a light note here. But it was after work one day. I came in to Ralph's again. Ralph's. It's like you can
That's where
meet
you get
everybody
your,
there.
that's where you
can
get
meet
your half and
everybody.
half. You pay for your half and half with the check, you know.
Give me the check.
Exactly. You can do that. You can do that. I saw Andre 3000 buying like a 2-liter of Coke there. I was just like,
Hey.
what is happening? But anyway, I was in the soda aisle, or pop aisle, as I would say. So I was in the pop aisle, like, just looking, and an employee came to me and looked at me, and he was just like, "Hey, sir, we have exactly what you were looking for." I forgot what he showed me, and I looked at him. I was just like, I've never talked to you before in my life. Like, who are you? Like, what are you talking about? Who are you? And literally around the corner, Shaft comes down the aisle.
Did he have the music?
Looks at the kid and like, "Oh yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your help."
So you got confused with Shaft.
I looked at the kid like, "Do you think I look like Richard Roundtree? Like, for real? Like, can I step out of here right now and go to the club?" Like,
Stars are just like us. Stars, they're just like us.
They're just like us.
What are we doing? I was just like, "That's Shaft, man. Like, you don't know Shaft?" Yeah. And so, yeah, Richard Roundtree just kind of nodded to me like, and that was it. I was just like, I can't believe that just happened. So that's my Richard Roundtree. That's a
very, very cool. That's a very cool LA story.
I just want to give a shout out real quick to Joe for picking up on ML's discussion about the global warming.
No, that was DC.
Oh, it was the DC. My bad. Yeah. DC. Global warming, like, good grief, man. Like, again, something else that we're dealing with right now.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And they to your point, like, old Robin Harris is like, "You crazy,"
Yeah, man.
She's so low, you gotta lay down and put them on.
Yeah, where the hell you gonna find a boat
at? You're 50 cents from what he said, 50 cents from a dollar. You eat the holes out of donuts.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
Yeah, the great Paul Benjamin is in the Frankie Faison, Coconut Sid, like,
Sid, you got a lot of nerve. You got a lot of nerve yourself. So you just got off the boat.
some trivia real quick. Roger Smith had no role initially. Like,
that's right.
This is all written in for him.
That's
like,
right.
There was no Smiley.
Oh, cool.
There was no Smiley in the script at all.
That's right. He begged Spike to be in it.
Yeah. And thank God he did, man. Thank God he did, man. Old Professor, what was his name in not Professor Langhorne? What was his name on A Different World? Either one of y'all.
Foster? No, not one. No, that's Barnum. Barnum Foster was Roscoe Lee Brown.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
He was a visiting professor. He was professor.
Yeah, it was during season 4.
And Freddie and all them had crushes on him, and then they would the big.
And they made him shamed. They shamed him into adopting a child.
Yeah, they did. They
shamed him into adopting a child that he met like once.
Yeah.
It was like Debbie Allen.
Yeah, man. But the divestment of South Africa was a big thing with his class. I will remember.
It was the Matthew season. It was season 4.
It was the Matthew season.
So it was a Keanu season. Season 4.
Also known as the Keanu season.
Season 4.
Yeah. It's gonna.
There's a lot going on.
It's gonna bother me.
Well, look it up. No, I thought Roger Smith was good in that. I thought all these roles. I thought everybody they brought it. I mean, Martin. Or no, the old girl. Her laugh was like annoying. She was at Howard when I was there, and I've told you before. Either Al Freeman Jr. was there. He was a theater professor at Howard.
Spread my seed.
Yeah, you must know. And I told you I would like stand behind him. And I'd say you must know. And and he'd look around. But I would do Elijah Muhammad's voice. His voice is Elijah Muhammad. But so one time, my buddy Gino was in fine arts. He's a singer, and he was like, old girl. He said, she was in Do the Right Thing. She was in Do the Right Thing. I'm like, no, she wasn't. Like, what are you talking? Like, I know Do the Right Thing. Like at this point, I'm at Howard. I'm a film major. Mm-hmm. I'm like, no, she could have possibly been there. Do the Right Thing. Mm-hmm. And he's like, no, she's Ella. And I go, and I'm looking like, oh, no, it was a couple years before.
Mm-hmm.
Life happens. Mm-hmm. Wasn't quite in the lycra and the spandex. Some things that happened or whatever. But I had opportunity to speak to her. Definitely clammed up. definitely didn't know what to say. I wanted to ask about the set life. I wanted to ask about working with Martin. You know, I wanted to ask about like what was it like with Spike that summer. I wanted to ask her all that. Yeah, that whole thing right there. She's out there too. Used to be so fine. Remember she said that? Yeah, it's just broke. But I definitely clammed up and was not able to ask any of those questions.
Yeah.
But I thought that they all did a great job. And you know, you mentioned the John Savage scene, and really he was a yuppie who bought the brownstone.
Yeah.
Who was born in Brooklyn. Yeah. And I thought we were gonna get a little more from that. But again, the foreshadowing of Spike.
And gentrification, man.
Yeah.
It's real.
Right there.
It's right there. Right there in your face.
It's still happening.
Right there. And you know, his bird hatred was just so
right there.
It's so weird. It's so weird to me. And we talked about this, and I'm gonna go into this. So Spike graduates from Morehouse in 79.
Mm-hmm.
NYU finishes like 81, 82. The MFA. I think that the word on the street was a 3-year program and did it in 2. I don't know if that's true or not, but 81, 82 wins student Oscar for Joe's
Best Side Barbershop.
Best Side Barbershop. We cut heads. If you think about it, you know, much like in the Bible, there's a time for Jesus in the wilderness. Like there's a forgotten time. We don't really know what happened. And then he's another age. Like we don't hear a lot about the middle, but then he's another age. I kind of look at that with Spike. So 82, but they weren't really making brothers weren't making brothers wasn't being greenlit. Okay, for pictures really. You know, and so as much. So when he comes up with 86, starts making She's Gotta Have It, that's released in 87. You know, that's a nice chunk of time there, I think, in between, where he meets these people, where he's doing, you know, writing, where he's trying to he's a filmmaker, he's doing all this other kind of stuff and trying to support what he feels is his art and what he feels is his life's mission. And thank God that he did it. Because then, just literally 10 years out of Morehouse, he makes his third film. And you know, we were talking about Eddie Murphy just with Lenny, we talked about Trading Places. You know, he made Trading Places at 21 years old.
Yeah.
21 years old. Okay. Yeah. Spike made this he was barely 31 when he made Do the Right Thing, one of the most important films ever made. And I think either you got it or you don't, man. And I think he got it, and he had it in droves, and he became, so the filmmaking was one thing, but then we'd never seen in America, we'd never seen a person whose outside persona was as big as what they did for a living. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting that he and Michael, and I'm just going to stay with me here, that he and Jordan at the same time, they're ascending in America in different ways, but you know, they're ascending. And part of it is for what they do in their craft, but part of it is what they do was what they project and who they are when they're not necessarily even doing their craft. Like if we're wearing a pair of Jordans, Michael Jordan is in your home. Yeah. And it's not when you're not watching the game necessarily, but he's there, right? Same thing with Spike. Spike said, okay, I'm gonna make movies, fine. In the time in between the movies, I'm gonna make videos. Yeah. I'm gonna make Miles Davis Tutu. I'm gonna make No One in the World, Anita Baker. I'm gonna make videos, right? Yeah. I'm gonna do these shorts for Saturday Night Live. I'm gonna write books. I'm a huge Knicks fan. Yeah. I'm gonna get a deal with Nike. Yeah. I'm gonna make these. I'm gonna be in the commercials. I'm gonna direct the commercials, and then I'm gonna get a lifetime deal with Nike. I'm gonna work that out. Me and Phil Knight, like this son, right?
Yeah. His trajectory is great. Yeah, that's right.
It's unprecedented.
Yeah.
So when as a kid, so I want to be a filmmaker. I want to be Spike. It wasn't even like I want to be a filmmaker, but you want to be Spike. And I'm learning, you know, those things really just happen every now and then. You know, there's only one LeBron James. You know what I mean? There's only one Spike Lee. So and he's still, this is 80s, 90s, 2000s.
No, he's still here. He's still here, man.
Yeah. He's still making award-worthy films.
No, exactly. He still matters for sure.
Like, finger on the pulse, literally finger on the pulse. And it's something I think you Calvin, you and Lenny were talking about. Eddie said when y'all were in baseball terms, when he wants to put some little control on the pitch, he can and focus you know, and being there, he could throw one right down the middle, and he could have a Black Klansman later in the career.
Yeah.
And or an Inside Man, which we've discussed that I think is unheralded, and in ways that I mean, it's like they just forgot that this amazing film was made, and it was winning one box office, it was breaking records and all that. It was just early in the year, but he's got it, and he's still got it, and you know, I'm just glad that we were alive for that period, and not only that he's inspired a number of filmmakers, hopefully like our special guest tonight. So that's just my love for. I told you I had season tickets for Spike, and I keep moving my seats down further and further to the floor.
Of course.
So that's how I feel about him.
Spike's much better. His trajectory is much better than Bitcoin right now. You know,
that's great. That's great. I have to get off of here, guys.
Okay.
This has been awesome.
Thank you, brother.
We love you, man.
Thank you, brother. We love you, man. Thank you so much.
Let's do Moonlight. Let's do Devil in Blue Dress. I want to know you guys too much. I know you guys got a bunch of people slated. So,
DC. You know, I think a request from you is it's like on our daughter's wedding day. We can't turn it down, man. So you know, Don Corleone. Yes,
gotcha.
Consider both of those done. Yeah,
we'll figure it out. And then let's talk about top 5 movie experiences ever.
Ooh, that's a show.
Okay, that is.
Yeah, we talk about that. We can talk about that at some point.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't wait to have you back on, man.
Absolutely, man.
Definitely will. Joe, we are reconvening on Wednesday.
Wednesday
For another Eddie Murphy film. Boomerang. Can't wait. I watched it again.
I'm going to watch it right now.
I gotta watch that. I'm gonna watch that podcast. That's probably my favorite Eddie Murphy film. So,
I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you, brother.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
Right on.
Well, fellas, it's been real. This has been the Open Task Podcast. Calvin Smith, Joe Carlos, Derrick Cameron. We appreciate you guys. Like us, love us, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll
Spike Lee.
Thanks so much, guys.
No problem.
All right, thank you. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah, brother.